Welcome, hello, and welcome to the Magical Rosary with Santa Muerte. I am Luna Eclipse, a devotee of Santa Muerte. I've been dedicated to her going on 4 years now, and I've been working with her for over 8 years. And I've been creating and teaching her rosary classes for well over about a year and a half now, I'd say, maybe a little longer. And by the end of this year, this 52-week content will be completed and online as a paid course. I do still teach one free workshop online on Second Life every Monday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's what Second Life runs off of, that you are welcome to join. I also am currently taking my 40 modules that I've already created. I'll be creating the other 12 throughout the course of this year, and I'll be converting them online for my Patreons. I'm almost finished building my Patreon, so stay tuned for more information on my Patreon. I do plan to turn the content into several books as well over the next year and a half or so. So in my courses, we'll be learning all about various kinds of rosaries and magical practices associated with them, applying powerful magical practices that are not normally practiced on the rosary. This workshop is both teaching and practicing, so both spells or rituals and concepts, and also working those on the rosaries. So this past week on live video, we introduced Santa Muerte, who she is, how to work with her. And we will be working with her. We will be today, I suppose, focusing on her rosary practice and how to pray her rosary. We will be working with her throughout the duration of the courses that I teach. Some modules are devoted exclusively to working with Santa Muerte, and we do get very, very deep into her mysteries and practices and discuss many native traditions and how to perform them on a rosary. But other modules, she merely hosts the content as we pray other styles of prayer beads to her, or to other deities, or to things like even powerful rituals and healing modalities and how we can use those on the rosary. So this course does take the basic idea of various rosaries and prayer beads, as well as different witchcraft and other magical practices and concepts, combining them all onto the rosary and demonstrating how powerful working with these things combined can be. The rosary is a very powerful tool for all practitioners, regardless of their beliefs or personal practice. And the workings that are done on a rosary can be altered to a practitioner's individual needs and desired practices. The rosary is not necessarily a dogmatic concept, but it's a powerful tool that any person of any belief system can harness for any of their spiritual workings. So we will be exploring all of this and more throughout the year. And keep in mind, as I am turning this content into a book and a paid 52-week course this year, this will be the last year that I am offering this content in its entirety as my beta version for free in my Second Life workshop. So make sure you attend every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to keep up with the content that I'm going to be posting. So at the end of the year, it will no longer be free. I will still post a lot of free content here in the Facebook group as well, just not all of it. And I also now have a YouTube channel that I'll be updating on a regular basis. And on my Patreon, I do have partial and full course available in the near future, as well as other support options, so you can help support me bringing Santa Muerte and different practices on the rosary to everyone. I do appreciate any and all support to make this material as widely available as possible to devotees, while still supporting myself in its creation and availability. I still got to pay my bills too. So this right here is one of my many altars throughout my house. This altar here is one of my, it's really small, but it's one of my favorite altars to Santa Muerte. It's got many of the different elements, and then I just love this version of her. It's my biggest statue of her. Eventually maybe I'll have a full-size skeleton, but those are a little hard to come by. So welcome to yet another altar in my house for Santa Muerte. They are everywhere, in my house, in my car, outside, on my person. This is what happens many times when you devote to Santa Muerte. So let's dive right in and discuss why we may want to do a rosary, what it does, why it's beneficial for our magical practices or spiritual practices. So why would we want to look at doing our magic or our prayers on a rosary? What different reasons could we possibly have for working with a rosary as a tool? Rosaries, as previously mentioned, they work very well with focusing magical intent and spiritual energy while also bringing the energies within the whole universe, which would be gods and goddesses or spirits, deities, elemental, or any other energies, saints, angels that you might work with, and the energies of your subconscious as well, all on board together with your magical goals and workings. As such, it's very powerful, and once you are familiar with the structure of a rosary, you can break down the prayers of the rosary, substituting them for whatever you prefer for your own practice. It does work very well for meditation and trance, for worship or fellowship with a deity, for focusing intent into energy, for strengthening shields and psychic barriers, for healing, deep spiritual and psychic healing, for communing with the dead and receiving messages, for performing ceremonial magic, cleansing rituals, all aspects of Santa Muerte magic, including graveyard workings, and many, many more things. This is some of the power of the rosary and why it's very beneficial for your practice. In this way, the rosary is a very powerful tool for focusing your spellcraft and intent and power as either a practitioner or a witch, however you identify. We will be exploring all of these concepts and more here, so if this excites you, then you are definitely in the right place. Some of the topics that you can expect in my course to come, depending on how you wish to participate, and even some of my free content here on the Facebook page and in my YouTube videos, will include specialty workings, specialty rosaries for different deities, mala workings, Islamic prayer bead workings, Catholic rosary workings, spell work, healing, necromancy, colors and symbology, commanding energy or spirits, brujeria, curanderismo, novenas, mediumship, shadow work, banishing, grounding, protection and barriers, cleansing and clearing, candle magic, communion, elementals, rituals, road opening, hoodoo type workings, consecration, releasing, and so much more. I can't even cover them all. I have 52 modules. A lot of them feed off into others. And then I'll probably also have some breakdowns of smaller modules for people as well, depending on what you're looking for. Some of them are very Santa Muerte involved, and some of them are going to be other concepts that we can put on a rosary that are just as powerful. And you can always combine them with Santa Muerte workings as well. So now let's go on to discuss different types of prayer rosaries and prayer beads. So many of you may be familiar with prayer beads or rosaries, and many of you may have worked with them before. In your own mind, think about it and consider what types of rosaries or prayer beads are you familiar with? How many different magical or spiritual systems of prayer beads can you think of off the top of your head? Many spiritual practices around the world and throughout the ages have used prayer beads or rosaries of some kind to focus their prayers, their chants, intents, or spiritual or magical energies. Prayer beads go back as far as India or even Africa over 10,000 years ago. They were originally used for early Hindu prayers and in prehistoric Grecian pagan worship as well, as they have been found and depicted on a fresco. So they actually have archaeological evidence of these things. More than likely, they were used in other pagan practices and in other areas as well. They then spread into Buddhism, Sikhism, Islam, Baha'i, Judaism, Catholicism, and Christianity, and many other places as well. So the word bead is actually derived from the Old English word bead, B-E-D-E, which meant prayer. So rosaries help the practitioner to focus solely upon the repetition, allowing them to go into deep trance and accessing the powerful subconscious mind. While the tangible process of moving from bead to bead places even the body into a trance-like state. It anchors you in your body while you are also traveling in other ways. So I often find myself rocking back and forth during my rosary practice, not usually to this, sometimes to this extreme. And this is common of many practitioners in deep prayer or in trance. This trance allows one to completely rewrite their energetics, thus creating change at a deep subconscious and even cellular level, both within themselves as well as externally. So this is powerful and advanced magic for practitioners or any spiritual practitioners. But as with all simple but powerful forms of magic, it is best practiced regularly to draw out the most profound change, although even the benefits from just one time can be immediately felt, as you may notice as we practice today. So there are many kinds of rosaries and prayer beads that are made with many different kinds of materials, and I do have some examples here. Some of the simplest are actually rope rosaries, and in this case, this is the knotted rosaries that you might find places, and you can actually make them. And we do discuss how to make these using cord magic in my full course. You can actually charge them while you make them. This also includes the cord rosaries. This is one of my first attempts I made at a wrist rosary made from cords. And there's many different kinds of these, and so they can double as protection. I have one specifically for Santa Muerte that I got at a Botanica, that you can find them everywhere, and it's got her sacred colors, red, black, and in this case they use silver but white. Her three main colors. But yeah, you can make these as well and wear them, and they double as not only a rosary but also whatever you have crafted them for. So yeah, some are also made from plant matter, such as petals that are shaped and formed into fragrant, hard beads. Another thing that we do discuss in my full rosary course. Some are made from seeds like rudraksha that are used as beads, and I should have brought them, but I'm currently working on a set of rudraksha beads as a rosary, and they're going to be beautiful. Others are made from fragrant wood beads, such as sandalwood mala. Some, like this one I just completed this past, I think 2 weeks ago I completed this one, maybe the past week, I can't remember, it's all blending in together. But these are made from stones or precious stones. You also have plastic rosaries that you might find places. You also have glass bead rosaries. These are pretty common, and these come in different colors a lot of times as well. You also have anything like metal, bone, pearl, shell, or any other material that you can imagine being strung up as beads. So many will have tassels or a larger or more intricate bead, a cross or representation of a certain deity, as does this one here. And then there's also the special three-way bead called a three-way connector, which you can see right here. And that's designed to attach the loop part here to the dangly part that hangs down right there. So keep in mind, all prayer beads are customizable. You can easily swap out any part of the rosary or prayer beads with other options if the original pieces don't resonate with you. It's as simple as, say, swapping out the cross with an image of a deity like Santa Muerte, and now you would have a Santa Muerte rosary, for example. But it's as simple as swapping out any option that doesn't work for you. You can swap out that cross on a black rosary again with a large key, and that can be a Hecate rosary. Or you can do a large pentacle, or you can, like I just showed you, get a pendant of Santa Muerte to put there. So it is wonderful magic to take a store-bought rosary and change it up to be in alignment with your form of magic and consecrate it that way. And we do learn how to consecrate on the rosary. You can do a simple consecration of a rosary on the rosary itself, and then there's ways to consecrate a whole altar or pieces of an altar in a very powerful way for Santa Muerte, which we do learn in a sort of that goes back to certain voodoo elements actually that I've been taught. So it is wonderful magic to do these things. So it's even more powerful to create your own rosary from scratch. However that you choose to do this, though, remember that a rosary is simply a tool for you to focus your magic and get better results in your craft. It does work best when aligned with your own energies and magic, so please keep in mind I do make my own custom rosaries as well for people. For different clients of mine, I have different styles of prayer beads. I showed you some of them. And then also other Santa Muerte custom items as well, like spell candles. And I keep these reasonably priced. I think that's important, especially because of who Santa Muerte is and what she does. So please visit my website if you'd like more information or to contact me. You can contact me as well. And I do have my site on the details of this video, but it's www.lunaeclipse.com. So also keep in mind that everything we do in this workshop will be done only, even if we're talking malas or the Islamic style prayer beads, they're always done on the Catholic style rosary. I love this rosary. This rosary was given to me by Brujo, by Roman. You guys will meet him later on when I was learning Santa Muerte magic from him, and I cherish this one. It was made in Mexico. So yeah, keep in mind we always do things on the Catholic style rosary to keep it simple and to keep it cost effective as well. I find the Catholic style rosary to be the most versatile of all the prayer beads, and it's really easy to find and acquire as well. You can easily make it, but you can also easily find them for cheap. So any style of prayer beads that any style of prayer beads that we do can be made to fit numerically on a Catholic style rosary. It's one of the secrets and one of the ways I love working with Catholic style rosaries. So yeah, there are also as many styles of rosaries and prayer beads as there are materials to make one. There are finger rosaries, which I love the finger rosaries for a short, simple, quick rosary. There are japa malas, mishbaha or tasbah, or sibha, which are the Muslim style prayer beads. The Eastern Orthodox prayer ropes called komboskini or chotki. I usually call them chotki because I think that's easier to pronounce than komboskini. The Russian listovka, which is made of leather. Ethiopian or Coptic mekatarias, and I'm probably pronouncing that like I'm pronouncing Spanish and probably pronouncing it wrong, so I apologize. But they're sometimes also called mecateria. Wreath of Christ beads, Anglican rosaries, witches' rosaries as well for certain deities. For example, they'll use sacred numbers for the deity's sacred number for the number of beads on the rosary, and that's easy to accomplish on a Catholic style rosary, numerically speaking. So yeah, there's also different types of like Jewish talit or talit perhaps, or knotted prayer shawls is what those are. Japanese juzu or ojuzu, which are counting beads, or oneju, which are thought beads. And the Japanese would not only pray on these beads, but would also grind the strands together to create a purifying sound. There are also Turkish and Greek prayer beads that are used simply for relaxation and not so much for prayer. So the name rosary comes from the Latin word rosarium, which means rose garden, which refers to a garden of prayers and meditations. And in original bead rosaries, each bead was often carved to look like a rose, which you can still find online today if you're searching for one, or they were made from crushed rose petals, which, as I said previously, we will explore how to make that in the full course as well. So interestingly enough, these rosaries also were often prayed in a church garden or other public garden that would often have artistic renderings of the Station of the Cross for the person to pray and meditate in front of. The Dominican rosary is the most well-known rosary. Whoa, that got twisted up. There we go. Let's not hurt it. This is the Dominican rosary. It is the most well-known rosary, the one that you would recognize the most. And it is the one that we exclusively work with in this course as well. However, there are so many other kinds just in the Catholic tradition alone. The Franciscan rosary, which can vary depending. You have the Franciscan 15-decade rosary, the Franciscan crown rosary, which focuses on the joys of Mary. You have many different chaplets, which also can vary, but they're kind of, I'm like thinking I don't have one on me, but they're kind of just a small version, not quite like a wrist rosary if it weren't connected, more like something like this if it weren't connected into a loop. the chaplets also can vary though. Servite chaplet, Servite Rosary, which is 7 sets of 7, which focuses on the sorrows of Mary. And a lot of these ones that I just talked about, we will learn how to do them on the traditional style rosary, and a lot of them will incorporate other deities as well, based on their sacred numbers. So yeah, wedding rosaries, or lasso, or sometimes said lazo rosaries, that are basically 2 rosaries, just like this, that are linked together, I believe at the cross actually, in the middle. You have a pocket rosary, which I do have over there, and I should have brought it out, but it's like a cute little tiny box, and it's got this tiny little rosary on the inside, and oftentimes a little image of Mary or of a cross. Usually Mary is how I've seen that. It's also sometimes called a tenor, and then you also have like 1 decade rosary. Those are the ones that I was saying were more like the chaplets. You have a car rosary that can go over the rear view mirror. I actually have one similar to this that I just hang on it, and then I can pray rosaries in the car. Be careful if you do that. You don't want to get into an accident. But they also have some that can clasp around the steering wheel so they don't fall while you're driving and cause you to get into an accident. So if you choose to do that in the car, just be very, very careful. They also have, as I was saying, the wrist rosaries and the finger rosaries as well. Thank you all for joining me in Santa Muerte today. May the bony one bless you and guide you. I will be opening this up here momentarily for any questions, but in the meantime, you can join me every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for my free beta workshop in Santa Muerte's crypt on Second Life. You do have to download the Second Life platform, though, for more learning and energy raising as we get deeper and deeper into the mysteries of the magical rosary and how it can benefit your magical practice. Stay tuned for more information about how to be an exclusive Patreon member. That's coming very soon, and you can have advanced access to my content as well, and that'll help support my vision to share this deep transformational content with more people in more ways. Ultimately, like I said, I'd love to make a couple books out of this, probably 3, but we'll see. There's lots of different things I can do with all the content that I have. So I do have 3 more live videos coming up in the near future for everyone here. An intense and in-depth look at the psychology and physiology of panic and anxiety, what it does to your manifestation on this plane, and what it does to your magic and your energetics. And also how to transmute that energy then into surrender and peace and empowerment so that you can harness the excess energies for your own magical manifestation and conscious creation, which is what we desire. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but if you're just letting that fester, then you're doing a disservice to your magic. So that's actually coming up soon. That's free content. So yay. It is truly timely information, though, as the energy of our current pandemic is that of panic. And so we need to learn how to transmute that to become powerful in this moment. This will be a 2-part series. It's going to explore the scientific understanding. And then also the second part will be practicing of the rosary itself. So we're going to devote just one chunk of a live video for understanding everything. The second chunk will be doing a specialized rosary that'll help you. So the final video in this series, this was a 5-part series that I started for you all. It will be Ask a Brujo. So we will be exploring traditional roots of Santa Muerte magic with a brujo and teacher of such things. He was my first introduction and teacher to Santa Muerte. So stay tuned and follow the events tab for more fun events that we will be bringing you. That's not the only thing. I'm also planning on doing a live video as well of just the rosary without any explanation or introduction to it. Just, hi, let's do rosary, and then practicing together so we don't have any interruptions during the rosary practice where I'm trying to teach you. That's also coming up soon. So thank you all for joining me. May Santa Muerte guide and bless you. Stay tuned for more.